In Sharjah, I'm driving a Lotus to the desert. What's your process of setting goals?
It's very straightforward, and I was actually praying Fajr, just crying to the point where my mom heard me from the kitchen. Then I realized, wait, this is the actual move to make meals.
Where does this mindset, this attitude even come from?
A lot of it is just tawfiq min Allah. Somebody pulled out a knife on me.
I come from the hood.
In your experience, what makes a good ad? Can we get a live demonstration to end the podcast?
Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers. And if there are any sisters that are watching, welcome back to another episode of Righteous and Rich. This is the new podcast where we are bringing on guests and discussing topics about righteousness, aspiring to be righteous, and at the same time aspiring to be wealthy. Because these are the two things the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if a man has them, you're allowed to be jealous of him. A man to whom Allah Azza wa Jal, He gave him the Quran and he used it to recite. And a man to whom Allah Azza wa Jal gave him wealth and he destroys that wealth in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal. As in, he takes knowledge and use that for the sake of Allah, and wealth for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. We are, alhamdulillah, joined today by an esteemed guest, Brother Muhammad Andalusi. Al-Andalusi? It's Ma'arraf?
Al-Andalusi, yes.
Al-Andalusi, Allah Barik. MashaAllah, Tabarakallah. Brother Muhammad Al-Andalusi, many of you will know him through Allah Barik, Al-Andalusi Institute.
No, Al-Andalusi Institute.
Allah Barik. We also have a new co-host, Brother Muhammad, who's also Mr. Flip Whips.
Flipper. The flipper.
If you don't know, get to know. Allah Barik. And of course, we have Brother Abu Bakr.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Alaikum.
So, Muhammad, Jazakallah khair for coming here, man. There's a truth be
Barakallah
told, I
feek.
have a confession to make in the sense where it's
Allah.
not a bad confession, it's a good confession.
Okay.
In the sense where you're a person that, truth be told, wallahi, I've been very inspired by over the years.
حياك الله وبياك.
Yeah, wallahi, no homo in any shape or form, but it's secret. but it's secret admirer.
So we're the UAE, you don't need to drop those disclaimers.
No, but it's going online. It's going online. But it's secret admirer, you know why, akhi? Because Allah Mubarak is a person who, Allah Azza wa Jal, he made knowledge something beloved to me. To see you as a person, Talib ilm, mashallah, also a mudarris, teaching the people, teaching the Arabic language, which is a tool for them to understand the book of Allah and the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But at the same time, akhi, you're a business-minded person, you're an entrepreneur.
If you also aspire to be a successful entrepreneur, but don't have an idea of where to start, which business route to go down, then we might be able to help you. At the Umrah Setup 2.0, we've been helping brothers set up their own successful and profitable Umrah companies. If that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, then click the link below, jump on a call with one of our team to see if this program is the right fit for you. With that said, let's get back into the episode, inshallah.
And, I first really kind of started to understand what you were really on when you done that podcast with Brother Faisal. On Freshly Grounded. This brother's an entrepreneur, Allah Barik, and there's not a lot of us in this space. Usually people go very deep down one end or the other.
What was the topic of the podcast?
His journey and whatnot, and also I saw the entrepreneurial spirit.
That was a very good podcast. Sorry to cut you off. Because I watched the first one and then I watched the second one and he was like, the brother achieved his goals.
Allah Barik.
Yeah.
Like, motivational, I can't lie.
Yeah,
Very
subhanallah.
motivational. Allah Barik.
And I most recently got really inspired by you. A story you put up where you just kind of put your journey. I was with Brother Sammy, who's our graphic designer, and he was just flicking through watching, and he's like, yo, this is sick. I was like, what are we talking about? He said, Brother Muhammad. I said, what? Let me see. So I watched the whole story beginning to end, and there was a part where he had a slow motion video of himself walking through the desert in Mauritania, wearing a Mauritanian outfit. And he's like, people say you need to be in Dubai to make money. Because I was in the desert making money with bad Wi-Fi.
For real, bro. 2.9 megabits a second, bro. And I was taking calls, 10K a months in with that Wi-Fi, akhi. There's no excuse, akhi.
Allah Barik.
That was my first 10K a month with that Wi-Fi, akhi.
Really?
In
Mashallah,
in that little humble desk that I had, akhi.
Allah Barik. So I got a lot to speak to you about, man. But first and foremost, just so people have a bit of context, and like we said here, righteous and rich, righteousness comes first and foremost. Mashallah, tabarakallah, you went to Egypt to seek knowledge, pursued the Arabic language. What was it about seeking knowledge that got you to leave? Because you're from Spain, as in born in Spain, right? Originally from Senegal, but born in Spain. What was it about seeking knowledge that made you want to get up and go to Egypt?
So, well, first of all, I want to say, of course, al-fadl and al-qudra wal-hawla, everything is راجع إلى الله عز وجل. Literally, I remember subhanAllah telling brother Ibrahim Jabir, ex-professional basketball player, shout out to him. He invested with me initially in the Amazon business, and you know, he trusted me, and subhanAllah, I can say how much I appreciate that brother. But one thing that I told him, I remember I was at the airport leaving Egypt, and I got deported from Egypt, right? And that was a very hard moment.
You were in
for me.
Asad, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It was a lot. No, I was in my third year of Kulliyat Sharia.
Allahumma barik.
So I had my goals and whatnot. So I got kicked out, whatever. And I remember telling him, "Ya akhi, all I need is $1,000 a month to continue my studies from like online. That's all I need to make." And of course, then I started under the institute for 6 months, 100,000, and 6 figures from the first year. And since then, we kept on growing, 7 figures this year. Allahumma barik.
Allahumma barik.
So the brother, he came back to me. He said, "Ya akhi, didn't you say you only wanted 1,000? What's going on with your studies and whatnot?" So of course, a lot of people, they don't know what I do by myself. I don't post everything out there. But it's true. I literally didn't want it. I didn't want to be rich initially. I didn't want to make a whole lot of money. So that came about. Now the thing with me going to Egypt and how that came about, it was a mix of a lot of things. I started at 16. The first thing that got me thinking about a deen, it was everything that has to do with jinn, shayateen, sihr, and I come from a West African culture, so there's a lot of that. My family, they laymen, so in Senegal there's a lot of things going on with sihr.
A lot of magic and
in my family as well, there was a lot of things going on in my family and whatnot. So that's the first thing that initially brought that interest about Allah. Is even at that time I probably didn't even believe in Allah. It was just everything was just blurry to me. I didn't know what was going on. No.
yeah.
So I remember at that time when I was 14, I lived in Paris from 14 to 16 years old. I lived in Paris. And at that time, I used to hang around a group of people. We used to be into everything related to hip-hop dancing and like crumping and things like that. So there was a brother, Jiki, subhanAllah, hafidahullah, he just sent me a message not long ago. I didn't hear from him for 12 years. So that same brother, he disappeared from those gatherings and those little hangouts that we used to do on a weekly basis. And I saw him after weeks wearing only thing I remember is him in a white thobe coming up to me with a big smile. Oh, at that time he called me by my nickname. Oh, how you doing?
What's the nickname?
Nah, I guess I nickname. You type that nickname on YouTube, akhi. That's it.
Okay,
Mohammed Delisi, Marjoj, that deal on me.
I go from 7 figures to 5 figures.
Well, you know what that.
Stop crash.
So yeah, he said, Ya akhi, hayak Allah, how you doing? It was a big reunite moment type of it was in the brother, he's subhanAllah, I gotta show you. You will understand by this message, right? How this brother was and how he helped me as well in getting back into or just starting to practice.
Okay, I can tell it. Allah.
So this brother, Hayahullah, he was a big cause for me starting to practice. He told that day, he said, come to my house, I want to show you something and whatnot. So we went to his house and he went on his laptop and he showed me, he went on the YouTube channel Roadside to Islam by Abu Bakr Islam, Hafidahullah. So he put on the video tour of Medina University. In there was Ismail, Bimun, rahimahullah, the brother Abdul Hakim, and some other brothers. And that was a subhanAllah, the fact that I'm mentioning this after 13, 14 years, it was such a moment of inspiration. I was like, because in Spain we don't have many tabaqat, many generational immigrants. We don't have many layers of immigrants. My father came to Spain, so I'm second generation immigrant.
Yeah.
So there's not many youth in the masajid.
Okay.
This is why I remember telling you, Akhi, I really love what you, probably like 5 years ago or something, I love what you're doing with the Umrah, my thing in the masjid and stuff like that, because I wanted to bring my childhood brothers to witness that. Because seeing youth upon the deen is something you guys are numb to in the UK. But in Spain it's big because it's new.
It's new, okay.
So me seeing that video, especially I was into like the whole hip hop culture, and the brothers they say, Abdul Hakim, mashallah, he's married, they have a little swag going on and whatnot. So it was inspiration to me. I was like, wait, these young people doing this? These young people like studying the deen and loving Allah and like, so that was my first interaction with wanting to seek knowledge. And the brother, since then, he took me to a masjid, and that masjid as well was heavy on talab al-ilm. Because
in France?
In France. He took me to the masjid. They were heavy on talab al-ilm from the whole vibes of Shaykh Yahya al-Hajuri.
Okay.
So it was heavy talab al-ilm.
Okay.
So me being around there, seeing brothers, they all like super serious, especially French brothers, they're very serious when it comes to a deen and so on. So all of that was layers of inspiration. Little moments that happened. I remember I was sitting after Jummah. I went for the first time, then we went another time after Jummah. And I remember one brother coming into the masjid, and I hear brothers saying, oh, Ahmed came in, Ahmed came back. Everything was interesting for me at that time. Where did he go? What happened? Where's he coming from? What's happening? So I see a tall, Allahumma barik, black brother coming with a beard and a thobe, and he's coming to the masjid. Everybody gets up and hugs him and everything. And then he sat us down in a circle and he started to explain his journey, his travel to the Damaj.
Okay.
Everything for me at that time was like, I don't know what they talking about, but this sounds like that's some real, like, I don't know what Yemen is even. I didn't know nothing. He was talking about, the only thing I remember, he said he got to a checkpoint and they took his Sahih Bukhari, his Sahih Muslim, they threw it away and they didn't let him go. And so at that time, it was 2010, 2011, it was the first Hisar that happened in the Damaj.
Okay,
my first class of learning how to read Al-Fatiha was in that masjid.
Wow.
And I remember the Sheikh, before that class, he used to say, make dua for your brothers in that Damaj, they being, oppressed right now and whatnot. So everything, all of these things for me was like, yo, this is some serious stuff. Something is happening. This is like the way how they were talking about, the way how they were serious, the sheikh, the whole vibe.
You know what's really good about that is that when I think of a talib ilm, when I think of student of knowledge, when I think of people seeking knowledge and ulama, it's a very manly vibe. As in, that's how it should be.
No.
You're talking about brothers who are in the Damaj, a village, there's knowledge, you're hearing stories about no electricity, gas, they live in a crazy situation. Not just that, they're being attacked for the sake of the sunnah.
No.
It makes you feel like, these are actually real people. But it's sad nowadays that knowledge, people who are seeking knowledge and studying, not necessarily embodying and manifesting that true rujula, that true manhood that comes with it. Because like a student of knowledge but that's the epitome. يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم الذين أوتوا العلم درجات. It's the highest level. Yeah. So I see your point when you look at a student of knowledge who's really honesting, he's sunnah, he's gharib, he's a stranger, but he's not scared of no one. He's focused. لا يخافون لومة لائم. He doesn't fear the blame of the blamers. Only fears Allah Azza wa Jal. Yeah, well, it's a sight to be seen.
And so of course at that age, I was like, 16, 17. So naturally, you are inclined towards that. You are inclined. At that time, I was in France. It's kind of like the vibe that you guys got going on in the UK. Probably a few months before that, it was the first time somebody pulled out a knife on me.
Okay.
When I was in those hangouts and stuff, there were fights happening. So you naturally are inclined towards like a little, like al-khushuna and like shuja and whatnot. So So of course, having land on those type of brothers for the first time, I was, you know, it was alhamdulillah. I was grateful for it. Then in that same masjid, I met a brother. He was French and Spanish, and we built a little relationship. I remember he was driving me somewhere, and I was sharing with him how much I was inspired, and I wanted to learn Arabic because I feel like when I open the Quran in Spanish, I don't understand, even though it's my first language. So he told me about a intensive program that was happening the next summer. So I couldn't find the word. The next summer in Egypt, and he gave me a pamphlet or a leaflet, and I took it with me. Of course, I was in Spain. I didn't travel much at that time. So everything seemed like, why would I go to Egypt to study Arabic? Isn't there like a institute here or something like that? So that was all of these moments. But of course, I just seen a video of these brothers in Saudi Arabia, and this brother, he just came from the Maj. And so it seems like traveling is something that goes with learning and seeking knowledge. So I got introduced to it like this. And I went back to Spain. And there was at that time, of course, everything for me was very blurry, like I said. So I had a friend, he used to be into like, you know, da'wah groups coming and da'wah bayanat and khurujat and 40 days and whatnot.
Yeah, those guys.
So there was a jama'ah that came from Tel Aviv. No, Tel Aviv. They were Palestinians living in Tel Aviv. Allahu alam.
As in they went to give da'wah there.
No, they came as a group to Spain to give da'wah. So I met them as well. And we did a little, you know, I spent time with them. That was actually beneficial as well. And you know, it was my another synchronicity that happened to me with relation to like traveling and seeking knowledge and whatnot. So I told them I had prepared to go to Egypt, and they said, "Oh no, come to us to Tel Aviv. We're gonna pay everything for you, and you're gonna study. You can marry my daughter." And like,
What?
they really wanted
Tel
to go.
Aviv. I'm confused about
I
that.
know, right?
Okay.
There's Palestinians that live in Tel Aviv as citizens in Israel.
Yeah, but I didn't know they had that type of like.
Freedom to give
Yeah.
that one. No.
Love towards it.
I imagine right now it's probably been
No, as in.
clamped down on.
No
Yeah,
doubt,
100%,
yeah.
but I just genuinely didn't know. But Allah back.
So yeah, then they told me about, I already paid at that time, so I was like, but they were pushing. So I felt something weird because of how much they were pushing. But anyways, ended up going to Egypt, and subhanAllah, when you first asked me that question, it reminded me of the morning, the Fajr prayer of the morning that I was supposed to leave. There was something that out of joy, having been through all of these layers of synchronicities of this brother and that brother, and seeing this and meeting that brother, and all of these things that were happening, connections towards why I should leave now and seek knowledge in Egypt. It is a big joy, a burst of joy that happened to me that same morning after Fajr. And I remember just right after praying Fajr, just crying to the point where my mom heard me from the kitchen. And my mom never hears me cry, or, you know, we grew up in my family, we didn't express much emotions. So this little boy crying, there's something happening. Something's happening. So I feared at that time that my mom thought that I was leaving to like die or something. So I told her, nice, you know, I put some tranquility in her heart. I told her, no, I'm just really happy to leave later on today and go to Egypt. And yeah, just left to Egypt, and since then I was supposed to stay for 3 months, and the first 3 months I didn't learn much, but there was a lot of these situations that happened again, like meeting this brother. And there was a brother from Ma'bar that just came from studying with Shaykh Muhammad al-Imam, and he was teaching us Kitab al-Tawheed, Usul Thalatha, and just another brother, he was an ex-professional football player, and he paid for my ticket to go meet a woman, and because he says it's very important you get married, and just a bunch of like things happening that each situation connected in a way or another to all the situations. And little by little,
Like a
I
sign.
just love that vibe, man. I just love that the vibes of just being in Egypt, seeking knowledge, eating lentils, not have money. I don't know how I'm gonna pay for the rent next month, but hey, I got class tomorrow morning. That's what I know. And subhanallah, that was I was supposed to stay for 3 months. I stayed for 3 months. I didn't learn much, but there was a lot of these situations that helped me and showed me this is what I want to do. So I went back for 4 months. I saved some money. I had to get married because, for me personally, hey, I couldn't be there studying without being married. You know, some brothers can, some others they can't. So I went, got married.
Marriage for sometimes students' knowledge will distract them. Sometimes it will help them focus.
Right.
You gotta know yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So so I left for 4 months, came back, and that's when it really started for me. And then I stood for like 6 years in Egypt.
Allahumma barik. So when you mentioned that when you went to Egypt, you spent some time there. Eventually, you had to leave because of some unfortunate circumstances. But at the beginning, you mentioned that you were just looking for £1,000 a month to be able to survive.
That was like after those 6 months, after those 6 years.
After those 6 years, right? So, question I want to ask you now is that you obviously then decided to acquire wealth and find a way to become a bit financially independent. I assume so you can carry on your studies and then, of course, take care of your family and your responsibilities, right? Which I think is a very important point because that's the whole thesis behind this podcast is that we don't acquire wealth just for the sake of it. That's what's madhmoom. That's what's not encouraging our deen and it's looked down upon. But acquiring wealth for a good intention, Imam Ibn Abdul Barr, he mentioned there is a unanimous consensus that if you have a good intention for why you want to acquire wealth and you do it in a way it's halal, it's not bad. Which is shocking because we think that acquiring wealth is bad.
No,
do you understand?
I think it's a distraction.
Right, exactly. So, but the point I really want to home in on here. So, number one, you had a good intention, good. Allahumma barik. But number two, what was it that made you different from a lot of other students of knowledge? Because the life of a student of knowledge generally is a life that's poor. Imam Shafi'i, rahmahullah ta'ala, a man came to him and said, I want to study hadith. He said, I give you glad tidings of poverty. Right. A student of knowledge, generally speaking, is a person who's turned towards the akhirah. He's not really worried about, financial gains, even though some people, unfortunately, use the deen of Allah to earn money, which is a filthy, disgusting thing, where you're actually selling your deen for the sake of money. But at the same time, if you want to be a real student of knowledge, like you said, right, the joy of being in those circles of knowledge, it numbs the pain of poverty. And it numbs the pain of all of the other things in life. I have rent to pay next week. It's okay, I have a dars today. And I'm going to be in a circle where there's going to be angels that will open their wings around me. But what was it that made you a bit different where you thought, okay, cool, in order to study this, to maintain this, and to sustain this long term, I need to get my money right. Most students, sometimes when you speak to them, they tell you, I'm going to end up getting sucked into the dunya, or it's going to take me away from my talabul ilm. But eventually they end up working in places where they have to leave talab al-ilm anyway, or heavily.
Also end up asking for donations or things like that,
Da'wah comes to an end. So where did the mindset come from? Because I saw that you've been on a journey. Like there's this Facebook ads guy who teaches Facebook ads and whatnot. You went to one of his courses and you were mentored by him. And like you went out of your way to actually, let me learn this business stuff. And let me take the skill that I have, which was Arabic. And it's great that, Arabic is a language. You're not selling the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. Not that I'm saying it's wrong to charge for da'wah programs. We've done the same in the past. That's not what I'm talking about here. But point being is that, you can actually say, I run a business teaching people a language, right? Which is fantastic. You utilize your skill. But where did this mindset and this attitude even come from?
To be honest, I think, when you mentioned earlier that talab al-ilm is something that's been made mahboob ilayk, something that's been, just put in your heart the love of it. A lot of it is just tawfiq min Allah. SubhanAllah. For you to prioritize knowledge is something that if you ask Allah, you should actually ask Allah to put it in your heart. And so I would say that a lot of it has to do with I don't know how I grew up in general. I think a lot of things developed that love for achieving goals, setting a goal for myself and chasing it and achieving it. and then I get this burst of dopamine for achieving, for success, and go to the next one. I remember when I was in Egypt, the second year, I said, nah, I can't go back, bro. I need to memorize Quran, and then I need to memorize Alfiya, and then I need to memorize. I had a whole list of books I had to memorize.
So every time you achieve something, you felt addicted to the reward.
Nah, I mean, I realized I don't know that much. Every time you learn something, you realize, wait, actually, this is just an opening to this big subject. So now I need to go into this.
So what's your goal setting process? Because I feel like a lot of people talk about goal setting. People have goals. We're actually talking about this in the car. What's the difference between setting a goal that you're ambitious about and wishful thinking? Like, what's your process of setting goals?
Well, for me, it's very straightforward. And I was actually, just this week, I was preparing a video on this because I realized when I posted that story, I remember I was like, usually when I post things as a marketer, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I'm going to post this and it's going to cause this and it's going to cause that. That day I was just like, I was just posting, that's crazy. I was going through this phone that has a lot of like
memories,
videos and stuff from the past. I was like, oh, that's crazy, bro. Yo, people got to see this. Yo. So sometimes I don't realize, but when it comes to setting goals for me right now, the thing that I have developed is, first of all, it needs to be mukhlis. If it's not to become a better Muslim, then there's no point for this goal, unless it's something, I mean, in general, everything you can make it lillah, whether it's business, whether it's, health, whether it's, getting strong, whatever. So what I do is, first, I set the goal. What do I want to achieve? Second of all, I give myself a realistic time frame and a realistic goal to achieve, like a goal that I can actually achieve it.
So could you share an example maybe?
So for example, in the beginning of the year, 2023, I told myself 2 goals. The first one was to be able to read by memory, because it was something I forgot, from Surah Al-Furqan to Surah Al-Nas. That's 12 juz. Just actually this morning, I read the last juz to my sheikh.
Allahumma barik.
So that was the first goal for the year. Second goal was to make $1 million. No. Second goal was to make over $1 million.
Allahumma barik.
Now that was profit, to make over $1 million.
Also
profit.
for this year.
No.
Allahumma barik. Ma sha Allahu la quwwata illa billah.
So we set that goal. I set that goal. The next thing that I do is I set sentences. Some people call it affirmations. For me, you can call them affirmations. For me, it's sentences of things that I know are hard for me, that I know are directly connected to the tasks that I will do on a daily basis that will help me achieve this goal. So for example, if I want to revise these 12 juz that are very weak in my mind right now and whatnot, my first affirmation for this year was, every single day after Isha, I go straight to sleep. And you see me reading that when I'm brushing my teeth every single day after Isha, I go to sleep. Second one is, I don't start work until my Quran Muraja is finished. And literally everything is stopped. People messaging me, just today we had the calendar is empty. I had to learn how to be okay with letting things just.
Why is that important to you though? The Quran being the first thing and not starting anything until that?
Well, not only is, of course, as a general aspect is something that I believe with the main life goal that I have, which is reach ijtihad. Memorizing the Quran is a big component of it, because you've memorized the Quran, you have all these adillah memorized already. Mm-hmm. So not only that, it gives you a daily routine. It gives you that before the night before. You see, sometimes you pick up the phone, you go on Instagram, you catch yourself scrolling for, if you're not used to it, for 3 hours. Then if you start getting intentional, after 1 hour, you catch yourself. After 20 minutes, if you keep practicing. Now, one of my other affirmations once was, I don't scroll through social media. That's what dumb people do. I literally read that, and from reading it so much and having it on my, I mean, anybody in my family, the maid, anyone that walks in there, they can see that. so they can see what I'm about. So I'm open about my goals. So they can call me out if didn't you say that
Allah barik. What language do you do these affirmations in?
in English?
In English, okay.
No.
It
So
could have been in Spanish, French,
Nah.
Arabic.
Portuguese is all right.
no. 5 Spanish, Catalan, French, Arabic, English.
You know one thing that I do just similar to
Allah
that, in the sense where I also noticed that if I look at my Slack, my Instagram, or my WhatsApp until after Salatul Duha, it actually affects my khushu' and fajr, and it makes me not focus when I'm doing my Quran in the morning or my adhkar. It takes your mind away. But if there's a day when I've woken up and I've come to the masjid and I've not looked at Slack, I've not looked at WhatsApp, my mind is, in the morning your mind is empty, nothing's been filled into it. You want the first thing to be the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal. The reason I asked the question about the Quran and also Shaykh, because one other thing that I think is a tangible benefit that people can take is that Quran is mubarak, it's blessed. Allah said, وَهَذَا كِتَابٌ أَنزَلْنَاهُ مُبَارَكٌ. This book we sent down, it has blessing and barakah. It means to be increased in good. زيادة الخير, to be increased in good.
خير المستمر.
Right, so and in essence, it's the ability to do more with less. I have an hour, but in that hour I can do more than a person could do with 10. I have £100, but my £100 will take me to do more than a person if he had £1,000. So the morning is already a blessed time, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. In the morning, if you then multiply the barakah that's already in the morning with the barakah of the Quran, and by the way, when just to not get too technical for the people, when Allah Azza wa Jalla, He mentioned that the Quran is blessed, He didn't tell you what that blessing is for.
In general.
It goes to everything. Yani first barakah in your iman, in your rizq, in your family, in your health, in your wealth, everything. So that's why, mashallah, tabarakallah, I really
Also, the fact that you're doing it in the mormorning, which is when is the most blessed times that you combine between the two, and that makes it compounds.
And also, one thing that really just stood out to me is that because I love the goals. One of the goals, Allah Barik, is you're going to be able to read 12 juz off by heart, but at the same time make a meal. Those are two very ambitious goals.
Right and left, yeah.
For many people, they're
that's what people think you can't balance.
mutually exclusive.
But I was reading Kitab al-Fawaid by Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala to my Shaykh just the other day, and the Shaykh done ta'liq on this fa'idah he brings. So Ibn al-Qayyim is just bringing the fa'idah from the ayah in Surah Al-Mulk, where Allah says, فَامْشُوا فِي مَنَاكِبِهَا وَكُلُوا مِنْ رِزْقِهِ وَإِلَيْهِ النُّشُورِ. That walk on the earth is a command from Allah Azza wa Jal, and seek your rizq. Walk on the earth and find food. So Allah is commanding you, go out there and get it in. But then at the same time, وَإِلَيْهِ النُّشُورِ. But know that you come back to Allah though, on a day of judgment, you're going to be resurrected. So Ibn al-Qayyim was going through this. Shaykh mentioned a beautiful point. He said, he said, this issue, majority of Muslims did not understand how to reconcile between it. You're being told, seek wealth. You're being told, walk, not rush. When it came to the akhirah, Allah said, فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَجَنَّةٍ الْأَرْضِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتِ. Allah Azza wa Jalla tell you, وَفِي ذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ. So when it comes to akhirah, Allah says you rush, run, compete. When it comes to the dunya, Allah said walk. You see the difference in energy. But at the same time, you weren't told
Turn
just
away.
to sit there and only focus on the akhirah, in the sense where, of course, you should primarily only focus on the akhirah. Focus on the akhirah for the affairs of your dunya. But focus on the akhirah, but don't turn away from your affairs in the dunya. You need to walk, get it in. So I find it's phenomenal, actually. Like the Quran. Yeah, because, and truth be told, someone might be sitting there thinking, wow, the dunya goal is very high, a mil. The Quran goal is not very high. It's only told you, bro, to memorize one juz of the speech of Allah in your heart. That would have been a goal. That outweighs the magnitude of making 2-3 million, because the speech of Allah is in your heart. So I really think that's amazing, number one, and that's one reason I wanted to bring you on here to demonstrate that. But the second thing, and this way I'm going to ask you to just like shed some light about your mindset with regards to this. How did making 1 mil not distract you from the book of Allah? Because most people would feel, oh, money just came in. I mean, in Sharjah, I'm driving a Lotus to the desert. I got a mil. I'm seeing a man. I come from the hood. I come from the hood.
No, don't get me wrong. The first 3 years, bro, I didn't know how to save money. I was, bro. So that's something it came with. Is something that's real, which is you will hear from a lot of entrepreneurs, which is that once you make money, like I did, for now we just hired our first C position, a COO. and he pushed me to track my expenses. But for 4 years, I generally wasn't looking at how much I spend, because I know my type of lifestyle.
Spending.
No, as in I know my type of lifestyle is not.
It's not fluid. It's fluid. It's not fixed.
No, my type of
okay.
lifestyle, I don't spend that much.
Okay.
And I know how much I'm making.
Okay,
I know I'm not gonna spend like
You're not gonna run out of money,
80,000 a month.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, in general, I think it's my personality as well. I don't like going outside. I don't like mixing with. I'm an ambivert. I get tired of, like, now I'm seeing you guys. I feel good, mashallah. Probably in 3 hours, 4 hours, I'm like, yeah,
I want to go.
SubhanAllah, yesterday I spent my day with my family, and we got home at night, and I was craving time alone. I was tired of like just being out there and not being connected with my goals and the things I'm thinking about in my Quran and my things like that. So it didn't distract me, because I don't know. I think it's not under this institute. It's not about making money. The truth is, I pay myself a salary, and I don't spend that crazy. And it's a mission. It's a mission, and I'm looking at a 10-year type of long-term goal. You know, I'm not. Yeah, once you make money, you realize like there's not much you can spend on. Yeah.
I've got a question. So you said that you very recently hired your first C position, right? COO. So for the first 4 years, it was primarily yourself in terms of leadership, in terms of action, in terms of...
Crazy, bro.
So you're running the ads. You're doing the sales calls.
I mean, not that crazy. I had contractors.
Okay, Allah barik.
But everything, my thing is everything in the business, I do it better than anyone else, which was a problem. It became a problem, because you should hire people that are better than you. So now I went for someone who's better than me at the things that need to be done. And for a lot of time, I had this problem of nobody's gonna. I think we even spoke when I came that day in the studio. I have this problem of, nah, you can't do it that well. Let me do it.
No, he's got the same problem.
You can do it that well. Let me do it myself.
He's got the same problem.
So I had
so hard
For
to delegate.
years, he didn't let us hire a finance guy. For years, just recently, I had to fight and say, brothers, we need a finance guy.
Nah. Yeah, it's a big problem. But I learned how to be okay with the thing being 80% good. As long as it's 80% good, then
that's something I
we keep
struggle
on
with.
moving.
That's the job.
But at the same time, there are things that, I gotta do this. You know, like copywriting, for example. I've tried so many copywriters. I realized for my copywriting, it needs to be a talib al-ilm who have lived the life, understand sales and understand marketing. Because I'm not gonna lie, we had our ex-Pepsi type of like big whale type of copywriter, but he was very good. I was impressed how he was able to learn about a topic like Muslims, and just based on my feedback, he would be able to. And at that time, we didn't have ChatGPT either.
Connect the dots.
So he was very good. But of course, we're talking about like Pepsi type of copywriter, you know, and it was very expensive. So later on, we just learned, you know, I just made sure my team is trained, and we got to that.
There's this what do you call it? There's a useful section in Alex Hormozi's book. I know you.
Yeah, big Uncle Hormozi.
Yeah, may Allah guide him. May Allah guide him. In the book $100 Million Leads, there's a section he has. Probably you went through it about how to train your team. Give some nice principles. Well, I found it very useful.
Yeah, I didn't finish it yet, but
transfer knowledge over, especially when it comes to the marketing side of things. Sheikh, I have a question. So, you, Allah barik, ads, it seems that was the main thing that you used, if I'm not mistaken, right? Initially to grow.
No, actually, we didn't run ads until we were making 25,000 a month.
So what was it? Purely based on your content? Was that content-based marketing? What was the method?
Yes, content. Mufti put me on as well. Mufti Munir. Shout out to him. And so joint venture and content. And yeah, just content, just organic content.
Okay, good. So this is the question I was going to ask. What has been the most beneficial in the long term? Content or ads?
Well, the thing is that ads won't work that well if there is no organic content. So in general, if you run ads, you have to have something that people, because the average human being will find an ad. Will see. Let me see what this is all about. He will type your name on Google or on YouTube or on Instagram, and he will see what is the most recent video or piece of content that he posted. Is this still on? Is this legit? Is this so organic content directly affects how the efficiency of your ads. So in general, 80% of our revenue, just a rough percentage, but 80% of it is organic.
But
and word of mouth.
Reason I'm asking is because a lot of Muslims feel very, especially practicing people who, mashallah, the kind of people that we want this podcast to be for. I can imagine they would be a bit cautious about putting themselves out there to create content. Generally speaking, I believe that you're gonna really set yourself back if you're not building the brand around yourself and your personality.
I don't believe that.
Really?
Yeah, I know people who are making. Let me think of someone. Hey, the brother was gonna come today. Hopefully we see him later. They making easily 100,000 a month, no face, no nothing.
What's he using though?
They using ads.
That's my point. So,
No.
You're gonna use. I'm talking as in you're gonna use ads or content. I'm saying if you are gonna do content.
No, but you can do organic content without your face.
Was that sorry?
You can do organic content without your face.
But it's not really gonna bang like that. People connect to human beings on a personal level, and even the
that's a plus.
Even the brother who does ads, I'm assuming he's dealing with cold traffic mostly, right?
Yes.
So-
but then of course you get a lot of leads, so you're gonna.
You get a lot of leads, but then the issue is that there's so many parts to the process. You got to have an appointment setter who's going to warm up the lead, and that person's going to pass him on to the sales team, and so on and so forth. And my point is that it's good and it's great. I'm not very good at ads, but it's a craft that I really want to learn. But someone starting off, it's a bit overwhelming. As you said, your online stuff, your content is where 70% of your revenue came from, right? So I think it's important for Muslims to understand that that's going to be one of your greatest tools towards being able to promote yourself, because ads cost money, number one, which is not the end of the world because the money comes back. But because you're dealing with cold traffic, and if you're not creating that content where you're putting your own stuff out there for people to be able to verify this guy's legit, and also you're not creating more equity for your brand by being consistent in terms of creating content, then the only way you're going to be successful with the ads, not the only way, but one of the ways, like the ideal ways, you got to make sure you have the money, the ad spend has to be proper, and you got to have so many different pieces that you need to make sure you get right. The appointment set has to be there, the sales team has to be there.
Yeah.
And if you're starting off the bat early, those are too many skills for you to be able to learn, to be able to monitor, even if you had the team on board, whether they're doing the job or not. No. So I feel like the easiest thing to do is just to create content. Just to create your own content.
You shouldn't run ads until you actually, you should be making money before you run ads, of course, unless, because the first 2 months, if you're starting from zero, the ads won't work. You have to organically build a warm audience first. And there's no doubt that people will connect more to personalities and individuals. But you can still run some, just Hyros, for example, Alex Becker, he just sold this past year 110 million his company, and he built it in like 3 years. So I believe that.
Do you use that software?
I do, yeah.
Is it good?
For the ads, yeah. Very good.
Can't lie, I saw his ad and I said, no, this
Very
seems
expensive.
fake. No, I just saw the ad, I said, this seems fake. It's actually proper.
Yeah.
I should have checked it out.
That's good, yeah. Yeah, no, Alex Becker, I learned a lot from him too.
Okay.
But basically, so what I was saying is, there's no doubt that building a personal brand, with time, you realize that you get to learn how to run a business without your face on it, really. I haven't, if you check I barely post any organic content. I have a team now of editors and whatnot. They post or a lot of, we have different accounts, but from those accounts, we don't even get that many sales. Most of it is word of mouth, our email list, and things like that.
It's kind of like the course is marketing.
And a lot of
marketing
people, they
itself.
join the program, they don't even know it. They
But
don't even know me.
that's a big thing though. Referral marketing.
No.
And okay, so you know what that tells me straight away? That tells me your course is
Product
sick.
is amazing. Yeah.
That's
That
the
tells
main
me-
marketing thing.
As in the fact that you told me right now that that's the main marketing thing. Even though I've never been on your course, I already know it's sick.
That's the main thing.
Because and here's the thing, like someone going to one of their friends and saying, "Yo, bro, this is sick. Trust me, I benefit from it. Sign up." It's gonna be way more powerful than any videos that you and I could make.
Yep.
Even you get a celebrity to endorse your stuff. Yo, bro,
Word of mouth.
trust me. I signed up and I learned.
Proper.
Yeah, it's proper. And I think that goes towards the importance of actually spending time perfecting your product. Because a lot of Muslims will do a half-baked job, and the Prophet said, "Inna Allah yuhib," Allah Azza wa Jalla loves for you to perfect your action,
And I
to
think
do it precision.
It goes back to what we said at the beginning that money was never your objective. But people, when they come into business, they're more focused on how am I going to use this to make money.
No.
Whereas if you focus on how am I going to make this the best possible product to provide the best solution for this problem,
That's the thing.
the money it's not an objective.
No.
It comes later. Always when it comes to these issues, let's go back to the Khilafah issue. People are chasing after Khilafah is not the objective. That comes as a result. So likewise with this, I feel like a lot of people don't realize is that when you and this another thing that Alex Omozi mentions, right? Imagine you had one customer, and the only way to get another customer is through this customer. What kind of service would you give to him? And that all ties in to referral marketing.
I would say the intention when building the product, making the product. Like Allah says in the Quran, وَمَنْ يَتَقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. So his intention was, he's doing this with taqwa. It's not, okay, cool, I'm going to make $1 million from these people. You get it? So, sah. Huh?
Question I was going to ask, you obviously run a course, Alam Bari, right?
Just started, yeah.
Flip Whips Institute, teach people how, you train people to basically benefit off the skill that you've learned over the years, which is how to buy and sell cars.
How to trade cars, yeah.
How to trade cars, fantastic. So now, do you have any questions for him? Because he's doing a
I'll go a
course.
whole other question. Yeah.
Go on, ask. Inshallah.
We have a lot of conversations.
We talk a lot anyways, but yeah. What I want to get into is the ads, because you did tell me once that before you get into ads,
your content creation game is very good. Like actually very impressive, Alam Bari. Alam Bari. Like what I'm hearing from left, right, center, Flip Whips. Hey, you know Flip Whips. Alam Bari, trust me.
His page grew very fast.
Very fast.
Sah, yeah,
Alam Bari.
true. You did tell me as well at the beginning before I even started. You told me, trust me, trust me, it'll blow. And I was like, nah, no way. Like you're just making money from money. Like, anyone knows how to trade. That's what I was thinking. That was my mentality. Subhanallah. Yeah. So what I want to get into is the paid ads. That's what I'm trying to look into now. So
what is Alex Becker's thing? How does it work?
Alex Becker? Oh. So the thing is that after the update with Apple, you see now when you log into...
Ask app not to track.
So a lot of people do that. So through Facebook, you are basically running ads blindly. Now the thing with that, and it's not only a high res, because he's a very good marketer and he got his product to be the main one now people are talking about. But there's been this type of products for long years with Shopify stores and things like that. And it's basically just a more detailed tracking tool to track your sales, to track your ads, to track.
Audience.
So basically what it does is not only on Facebook, it tells you...
What's the CRM?
Is a CRM system as well, but it's more of a basically what they do is they have a code and they put it on every single page from your Calendly or whatever calling tool you use for scheduling calls to all the way to your Stripe account, all the way to your website, all the way to... So the thing is, they track every single step. So you can see which ads are actually working. So you can scale those ads and you can delete the ads that are not working.
Okay.
But with Facebook alone, it's very, very vague. Yeah. So you turn off ads that are actually working.
You mean with the Facebook Pixel?
Even with the Facebook
It's
Pixel.
not enough, yeah.
No, because you can say that, I don't know how Alex Becker did it with, but Facebook being a public company and so on, they have to follow certain restrictions and certain guidelines for personal privacy.
This man's grabbing as much data as possible. Left,
Exactly.
right,
What else
center.
though?
Allah better.
So if you're not a public company, then you can grab whatever you want, basically.
جزاك الله خير. It's a فائدة والله.
Yeah, جزاك الله خير.
So go on, you were asking about ads.
about ads. Yeah, that's what I want to get into now. But at the same time, what I'm doing every day is going back to the point of perfecting your product and how his product is very good. Is that I'm trying to make the product even better. 89% of people, they understand everything smoothly. There's 10%, 10%. I have to take them through everything. And it's kind of like, what can I do to just make it 100? I know I'll never really get to 100, but what can I do to just scale it up?
To 100 what?
100% of people just going through the program, not needing me, just doing their thing.
You know what it is? Sometimes it's not always about it's not necessarily a problem with the product.
That's what I've literally.
Sometimes it's a problem with the customer.
Yeah.
You'll always get 5-10% of people
Sir.
that, bro, they just won't get it. They'll
Yeah.
be baffed, or they won't really. They're not your ideal customer anyway.
Yeah.
If you're saying 90% of people are going for it by themselves, that tells me it's a very good product.
It is, yeah, and inshallah, what I'm trying to do is make it even better. There's a student, his name is Daniel. He's not a Muslim like I am. He asks me a lot about Islam as well.
I mean,
But he just went through the program, and the next day he said, I just bought a car, and then the
I
same
saw the
week,
video.
The same week he flipped it.
Allah
So he
Barak.
went and got 6. Now he's on 10. Allah Barak. He's just
Allah
doing his thing. So yeah, it's alhamdulillah. It's,
at what stage would you say he's ready for ads? Like, are there markers? Are there things you look for? Like, okay,
You gotta
hit
have
this-
at least 5K to burn that you are okay losing the first month. So yeah,
That's
I
what
would
ad
say
spend.
Yeah, because the first month you will have to you need to, it's an investment. You need to be okay with losing it.
but would you advise me to like put that much into it if I'm not making?
You have to put that much into it because otherwise you're not gonna get to gather enough data.
You got to see which ad's working, which one's not
No.
working.
So of course you can. The best is buying a lot of. What you basically doing is buying data, and buying people's attention.
Of course, yeah.
So the more you spend,
The more
of
data.
course,
you-
Facebook they cheeky as well. So if they see somebody now, I remember, and I was with Ismail Bimon, subhanallah, rahimahullah. I was in a car and Facebook called me.
Oh,
Hi, sir. How you doing? Hope you. Yeah, we seen that you might need a little bit of help, so we just wanted to. So if they see you spending now, they is in their best interest to help you out
okay.
because you're gonna continue to spend.
Of course, yeah.
So it's the same thing. They're trying to make their product best to get solutions for the customers. So I would say that you need to at least have 5K to
Burn.
just burn. Like I said, me, I didn't start going into ads until we were making 25,000, and I think 25,000 a month dollars.
Okay, dollars.
I would say that the main thing that you need to perfect right now in the beginning is what is sales and what is marketing. What is sales and marketing? Because even if you run ads and you don't know how to convert that attention,
So
you're just gonna literally be burning
your
money.
yeah, I think you told me this once a while ago. You said to me that, in other words, correct me if I'm wrong, but knowing how to make money doesn't necessarily mean you know anything about business. And that I find that very true now that I'm learning about business. It's like, okay, I knew how to make money, I knew how to flip and double money, but I didn't know business.
No.
Businesses that scale now.
That's
Taking
it.
it from
There's
earning a little 500
there's many
here.
facets to it.
There's
Like,
a cap. Like I always get to a cap. Of, let's
Bottle
say,
it.
Many facets.
100K, 120K. Like, how do I
how
make
do you
more?
go past it? Yeah.
I only have that small methodology of making money. How do I get this?
So then the question you have to ask yourself, and perhaps you can shed some light on it, like the question that I've started to ask myself now is, what's the bottleneck? Identify what is the one thing.
Literally every few days.
Yeah.
What's the bottleneck?
What's the bottleneck?
What's the bottleneck?
Because every day I'm doing things, I'm doing more things, the bottlenecks are changing. You solve one problem, it only creates another problem.
As a CEO, you have to be doing that.
Yeah. One thing like, before I even get into that is that two things Muhammad already spoke about. Yeah, is that I found myself doing a lot. Like I'm not stuck to one thing. Does that make sense? Muhammad told me this as well. You told me this as well recently. Is that you can't be doing 5 different things. You need to stick to one thing and perfect that. I've been hearing that lately a lot from Muhammad, a lot from Imran, and it's true. I kind of just sat back and I thought to myself, look, so what do I want to do?
You gotta stick to one business model
Yeah.
and become obsessed about making this product. And of course, as you were saying, in terms of percentage, in any product, it's probably gonna be like, if you can get it to 20% of success, that's amazing. But in general, even in Harvard University, one of the biggest
Universities in the world.
educational places in the world, they optimize for success rate. So if you optimize for that, you are now trying to perfect your product. So it means that, for example, I remember when we were working on Anders Institute 2.0, for 7 months we didn't put any content or anything.
That's why you were Mecca, right?
Yeah. So I remember 1 month the product went all the way to the revenue went to like 2,500 from like 30,000-40,000. That year is where we had the first 70,000 month. And so I stepped back 2 steps to jump forward 3 steps. I was making the product better with my first version. So you need to have versions, just like apps have versions. This first version, okay, this is what it got. What is the KPI? What is the key performance indicator? Okay, people are getting results. What is the difference in between the people that got results and the people that didn't do results? You need to keep on, like I said, be obsessed with finding what is that's making people gain success. The success of your clients is your success. So now if you focus on making the product better, not only ads are to scale, not to run the business and to make money. Yeah. So once you're making money organically, now you can realize, okay, let's scale, and then put money into some of the money you're making organically, put it into ads and start scaling. And the scale, like I said, this year we make $1 million, but a lot of that went into ads, probably 100,000 and maybe a little more went into ads. So
is it $1 million gross or $1 million net?
We are at like 900 something profit.
Okay.
Revenue is like past 1 mil and 150 something.
Okay.
Something like that.
So
what I'm trying to say is understanding growth and profit and like it's not because you're making like your life expenses, your daily expenses, things like that.
You still got another 12 days of the month left.
Yeah.
To round it up.
Hopefully you can get there with the profit.
One thing I want to ask. Sorry, go.
No, please.
I was going to ask, would you advise me to get a mentor? Would you advise me to? Because that's one thing I realized.
You cannot not have a mentor.
Yeah.
You would say?
You cannot not have a mentor.
It was double negative, but it was intentional.
Yeah.
Just
golden advice for life.
And just be around entrepreneurs. Like this year, sometimes it's one thing. I met this Moroccan brother, Hafidahullah. He runs a CRM SaaS company for messaging marketing. They make about 6 million a year or something like that. And he was telling me about how he's getting offers now to sell the business for 15 million. So it was the first. Of course, I heard about selling a business and whatnot, but because of that conversation, I was like, wait, yeah, I think now my business goals are different. Now I'm trying to sell something because that's how, and then different things happen.
You want to exit?
Nah, maybe not Anders Institute, but
build
some other
something,
things.
basically.
No,
Build something.
Anders Institute, we already sold 10% of it. But what I'm trying to say is, as he was saying, there is layers to business. So once you get to, okay, now I know how to get a business to $1 million a month, $1 million a year, which is 90% of businesses never reach that. Now, how can I make 100 million? So because of this brother, what he said, and then Alex Becker said in Hyros, and then I realized, wait, this is the actual move to make meals. Yeah, I'm not talking about.
You're there.
That's
now.
how you amass wealth. That's
right.
how you amass wealth.
Yeah. And then that's when you can. Of course, as Muslims, I will probably never do that, but wake up whenever you want and do whatever you want and not
Don't worry about
right, because then you have 100 mil, you can put 2 mil into a business. Now you own 10% of that business, so you get in 100,000 a month. You put 2 million into this other business. That's how you amass wealth. So this is why in the beginning you need to learn how to get a business to 0 to a mil. Or 0 to 100, that's the first. 0 to 10,000, that's the first thing. That's the hardest part.
I would say the hardest is 6 figures.
I think if you get to 10,000,
10,000 a
it's
month.
just replicating.
Oh, a month. Okay,
Yeah.
6 figures. Okay, yes.
All right, yeah. 6 figures.
The first, the first 6 figures, bro. That's hard. That's where you spend most of your grit and your grind. From that, you find things compound,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets a lot easier. As long
Same
as
with
you're
like YouTube. Same with like building your audience. The first 1,000 followers is hard.
Yeah.
Then the next up
Yeah.
to 10,000 is a little bit less hard. But then after you start doing it, it just compounds. In your experience, what makes a good ad?
A good ad is
What have been your most
a
successful ads?
mix of curiosity, and that curiosity needs to not explain the thing which will cause you to click on it. So it's of course that's the art of marketing, right? To get somebody to be curious about the thing and then build that feeling in his heart of, well, actually I'm interested into this. Let me click on it. And then this is why it's many things happening. So the ad is the first layer. Then you click on the landing page. Then on the landing page there is again something else that catches your attention. The sales ad, how you talk in the video, if you have a video in there, or if you have just copyright, what you say in there, it needs to make the person go to the next step. Once you get to the next step, it needs to be good enough and the person needs to see value enough to go to the next step. So
But that first video, you're saying just build
yeah,
that
the
curiosity.
first ad, it needs to be quick, it needs to deliver a straight message, it needs to be clear. This is where your ad is, where you're gonna get.
Can we get a live demonstration to end the podcast?
With what? What do you want me to say?
Under this institute, bro.
Under this institute.
Yeah.
Under the institute. So in the past 5 years, I've taught thousands of students. Many of them learn the Arabic language just like this one, just like this one, just like this one. If you want to know how, it's a little bit too short here for me to explain. Just click the link and I'll explain to you in a 20-minute video how to go ahead and become like these students. That easy.
Barakallah.
Send us the clips of the students. He's gonna edit it in, inshallah.
But yeah, that's what it is. And then that's the thing. Once you get to actual results, when you get results, that's the next step. Once you have results from people, you need to show, because people don't care about your face. They don't care about how you speak. They don't care about your accent. They don't care about you black, you white, you. Can you help me get this?
It's very true.
And like I said, people join Anders Institute, they don't even know me.
Yeah,
Some
they're
people.
it's just word of mouth.
No. So
Like what that said, Muhammad, Allah jazakallah khair, barakallah feek. Like, it truly was a pleasure here sitting with you. And will I benefit as well? Well, I honestly benefited. We're just about to get into the ads thing ourselves. So hire us, inshallah. We're definitely going to be looking into that. It's the
Inshallah.
benefit of being in these circles.
well, let me know then. I give you the
Referral.
The referral.
Please do, yeah, 100%. Send me the video link, inshallah. Guys, with that said, subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.